This is genetics lesson for Science 10 on codominance. In codominance, our heterozygous individuals express both of the traits separately. So instead of being a mix, we end up with patches or spots or some sort of mottled appearance. Our examples show my calico cat. She has both orange and black. Okay, this is our clue that this is a codominant gene, because co means both. Okay, if it were incomplete, so if gene was incomplete dominance, like our previous lesson, you would end up with a mix of colors, and a mix of orange and black in this case would likely be brown. Okay, as we can see, Calico's not brown. She's not an even color. She is definitely separate orange and black. So that is our clue that this is a codominant gene. Her gene notation, XX, stands for female, which is sex linkage, and that is in a next lesson. But the B and the O stand for black and orange, and they're both capital letters because they are both dominant. Our second example is a red and white camellia. So this R and W is both red and white. Again, it is not pink. Okay, if it were pink, that would be incomplete. This is not. And we use both letters as a capital because they're both dominant and expressed. A second way of expressing codominant genes is sometimes to put the gene type as a capital letter. In this case, this is a gene for color. And then the red and white R and W here as superscripts. That indicates that they're both dominant. Here's our first example. We have been asked to cross two red and white mottled camellias are bred. What is the percent genotypes and phenotypes in the offspring? So they're both red and white parents. So RW times RW. I'll use the more simple notation. And we'll make a Punnett square for these guys to see their offspring, just like before. And my first parent, I'll split up the genes, because in meiosis we only put one copy of each gene into the egg and sperm. And then the other parent I put on the side, also capital R, capital W. We'll split up the genes. And now we can fill in our boxes. So big R, big W, big R, big W, big W, big W, big W. And my question asks me my genotypes and phenotypes. So I can list my genotypes as 1 big R, or 25%, since the question asks for percent, 2 big R, big W, which is 50%, and 1 big W, also at 25%. And for my phenotypes, big R is red, so 25%. Big R, big W is red and white. Okay, so this is something like spots or patches. And this one will have 50%, because we have two of those, and we'll have one that is entirely white, which is 25%. Incomplete dominance is, codominance. Codominance is the type of gene that we have that controls human blood type. So human blood type is given a specific set of symbols. The symbol notation is capital I, and if you're type A, you'd have capital I, capital A. Sorry, this is type AB, capital I, capital B. If you have type A blood, you have capital I, capital A, so you have two of those. Or you can have capital I, capital A, and a small I, which means it's recessive. If you're type B, you can have two genes with a capital B, or you can have one capital B and one recessive. If you're type O, you have two little i's, which is the entirely recessive form of this gene. Common questions with blood typing, I have two examples. So a man with type O blood and a woman with type AB blood have a child with type B blood. Is this possible, and what's the probability of a type B child? So first we need to know our parents. So type O, if I look up over here, it's little I, it's entirely recessive. And type AB would be capital IA, capital IB. So these can go into a Punnett square. Going to have to write a little bit smaller in this one. On the top I have two little i's, and on the side I have a capital A gene and a capital B gene. So here are my offspring. And I'll just list them over here to make it a little more easy to read. We have capital A, I on the top, and we have two of those. And we have two capital B, I. So 50% of the child could have type A, and 50% probability your child will have type B. So is this possible? The answer is yes, and we have a 50% chance. An interesting thing about this type of blood typing pattern is with this combination, we actually had no O and no AB, even though that's what the parents were, and that is one of the traits of codominance. And I've got a second question on blood typing. We have a woman with type AB blood and a man with type B blood. They have a child that's type A. Is this possible? So I know in my parents, the woman is AB, so she has to have, let's do this in red. She has to have, that's the symbol for woman, she has to have both a capital A and a capital B gene. My man is type B, so I know he has one capital B, but I don't actually know what his other gene is, because to be type B, you can have two capital Bs or a capital B and a recessive, and I actually don't know what that one is. So we're going to work backward a little bit. It says the child has type A. So to be a type A child, you can have capital A something. So if I work backward, I can see that this A came from mom. So that's A. And then this, if this were a capital B, then this would be a B here, and then I would not have a type A child. However, if this were a little I, and that little I came down here, then yes, this child could actually be type A. So yes, this is possible, because the parent, if the type B parent is capital IB little I and not capital B, two capital B's. Okay, and then my next question asks to explain why they will never have a child with type O blood. So I'm going to go back to my parents again. I knew that the woman was type A, and I know the man is type B. I'm making assumptions that we're still talking a recessive gene here. And in this case, when I make my gametes for the woman, sorry, I should have drawn my Punnett square first for you. And I separate her gametes, every time, every square is going to have either an A or a B. Okay, I know my man is type B, and from the previous question we assumed he was a little I, so there are no little I, because the woman has both A and B alleles, but no recessive little I allele. And to be type O, you must get a little I from each parent. There we go. And now you can work on your worksheets on codominance and incomplete dominance.